Hi, I'm Bonnie, Log Cabin Stitcher. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my sewing room. You can follow me on Instagram at Bonnie, Log Cabin Stitcher. It's been a while. There's so much that comes up unexpected in life, and so here I am, 4th of July, Independence Day, and it's already July 17th or 18th. So things came up in my life. I'll do that in the chatty portion later, but basically my life got a little complicated, both with physical and mental stuff that came up. So I'm here, and now because it's been so long, I have tons to share. So take me in batches or get some stitching, and let's go for this ride. And I am probably going to be tempted to stop and start this over again because I've got so much stuff here, and I feel like it's awkward because it's been so long, but I'm not going to push stop. We're just going to push through and get this done, and just enjoy the ride. So 4th of July weekend, Independence Day weekend, I got a lot of stitching done, and it was fun, and I got a lot of different kind of things done. So I'm just going to share with you some of those things. Now, I had planned on doing a wrap up of all of the things that I got finished for Just Get It Done June SAL that I had co-hosted, and gotten Melanie from Melanie Stitches to do that with me, and I kind of dropped off, but I'll explain a little bit at the end about my little complicated life. But here I am now. I'm here, I'm engaged. I'm going to show you some things. I did several Wool Along Friends videos. Lisa at Prims on Greenway and I just want to get everybody excited about wool, sharing about wool. And I had my 2 weeks of what I called my Maggie weeks, and doing Maggie Benartex wool projects and some other things. So I have been very eclectic, and then I'm back into quilting again too, both machine piecing and hand quilting. So I love needlework, and I go through different stages of different things. So we're going to share, and then also I've been promising to share the dimensions of how I make the project bags that I enjoy. Not at all even a tutorial, not tutorial, just I will share those measurements with you. So it's just like, okay, where do I grab to start with? So let's just start with some of the finishes that I did. And for those of you that like wool and want to learn more about these, please, I've already done, I think, 4 Wool Along Friends videos really sharing the details of these projects. But we're going to do a bit of a wrap up of my Just Get It Done June. This was one of my projects that I did, and I shared about this. One of my viewers commented and called it a Dorset button, but this is from my mom's button box. This is from Pure and Simple, Maggie Benartex, and it's a scissor keep, but I may simply use it as a display when I get more of the vegetables done, to be able to put those with a summertime display with some old gardening tools that I have. So that's one project for my Wool Along. Then this was another one, and if you look at the last video that I did, this is the picture that shows. So I did this, and I believe it was from the Pure and Simple book as well. I'll put those in the show notes. But this was something that I changed, and I put this little off-centered snail in there from a different book. I can picture it right now, but I'm not going to get caught up in that. I altered this to make it into a needle book. So I share many more details in the Wool Along Friends video. And then this was one that I was most proud of, but I did a needle roll, and this is from With These Hands, Maggie Benartex, and I changed it a little bit. I took it from a roll, and it's more of a fold up, and yeah, it does this, but it's just part of what happens. And I shared many of the details, more antique buttons. I really am enjoying getting my mom's antique buttons out. It was my mom's because it was passed down from her. I have no idea how old these marvelous buttons are, but this is what I shared, a lot of the details about how I changed this pattern and added this to it, rearranged these different patterns. The inside is quite different. but this is my needle roll up, and yes, it's got to be that last Wool Along Friends video that I did, because it was after I had finished all those things. Then some of the other finishes that I had were this from Folk Art Needle Love Book. I was thinking this was a Maggie Bononomy, and it's not. It was a different designer. I cannot remember the name. I love this, and a lot of times I set my pillows on top of my couch and I realize it's making that tip go down. But I love squishy. I love this. So very happy with how this worked. I will probably put some type of a hanger on here so I can hang it on my door. I like hanging things on my door. The pattern actually had something right here, and I didn't want that, so I'll probably add something on here. But love this pillow that I made, another Wool Along project. This, I finally got the foam core board, but I just I wasn't in the mood to frame it, but I'm hoping to frame this tonight. So this was from Buttonwood Farm, Maggie Bononomy, and this I believe is from With These Hands. I have not gotten any further on this, but I plan on doing a border around it, just to really make it pop out on my walls, because my walls are already cream. I want to do this instead of as a pillow, I want to do this as a wall hanging. So that's one of, I think those are, oh no, those are not all my wool projects. The other one was this, and I did get it made into the bag, but I'll share, I guess I should just share, I'll just do it as we go along. Where's my notebook? So these are, let's see, I put my glasses on already, but this is my cross stitch size of project bag. So 2 of these I got finished. So this was part of my Just Get It Done June. This I had done, I think, last month in April. Got it completed. And it is this is Baby Alphabet, and it's Sheepish Designs. It's a free one on Pinterest. And so that I put in here. I have the details of this because I coffee dyed it. But this was one of the project bags, and they're very stiff. I like them stiff like this, and this is my bigger size. So this is more of my quilt project size bag. This was another Just Get It Done June, and I'll be giving away this pattern on my next Wool Along video, because that's where I kind of talked about it. So the next one that I do, I have quite a few giveaways in there that I will be doing. So this was a pattern that a friend of mine, Rosa, had sent to me, and I've done it, so now I'm going to pass it along. But you can see, where is Riley? Riley is on the floor. Okay, you can see the difference in sizes. So this is my cross stitch size, the size of my vinyl bags usually, and this is larger for my quilt projects. I'm not going to share what's inside of that, because we will never be done if I keep doing that. So we're just going to do this as we go along. So the details of how I do the project bags, we're just going to talk about that. You know what, actually, I'm just going to do a separate little video on that, because otherwise this will be forever. So after I do this, I'll do one right away so I don't get lost and not get that done. Okay, so let's stay focused. So those were project bags that I got finished. And so those are 3 of the things. I have to be careful where I put stuff because of my dear Riley. What else did I get done? Just Get It Done June. I didn't get that much cross stitching done in June because I had done a lot of cross stitching for Mania, but I wanted to have a finish. So I got this finished, and actually it was Independence Day weekend. So we're just going to call it, we're going to share it as a finish. But this was from a pattern which is back in stock now. I went on Etsy on Threadwork Primitives. It's back in stock. It was out of stock at the time that I wanted to stitch this, and a friend of mine is loaning this to me. So instead of these DMC colors that are here, this is the colorway that I did. I'll share the details in the show notes because I couldn't tell you. I think this is Vintage Exemplar, but I'll put the show notes. But I wanted mine darker in prim, and I did the over dyes. So that is that finish. So we're just going to pile things up. I had totally planned on doing more cross stitching that weekend, but something came up. So this, I did not get my work done. I didn't even get started on that, but that I want to do. I love, love thread work primitives. I had everything together, ready to go, and didn't get that done, but I forgot. It was because of this guy. So as we were getting ready, we spent the holiday weekend up in the mountains, and as I was getting ready to go, I was just going to take this, and I thought, well, I can't take it empty. What do I have that I can put in there just to have it, just in case? So I like to match things. So I was looking to see, what did I have that was an alphabet? So I threw two things in here. This was one of them. This guy, letters for Santa. I even had the straw linen that I'm going to use, and I took up all my threads. So I could have started that, but instead I had this with me, and it has the alphabet. And I thought, well, it was also for Blackbird weekend. And so I had this, and I think it was that Friday and Saturday I was stitching on that. And I thought, well, I'll just put a couple stitches in. Well, I couldn't stop. This is on Vintage Country Mocha, and I just couldn't stop. I just kept going. I kept thinking, oh, I have so many other things to do. I'll just do a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. So I worked on this for 2 days and very much enjoyed it, and it will go quickly, and I'm looking forward. I love the satin stitch with embroidery, so I'm assuming I will also like it with the cross stitch. So that's as far as I got. And so that was my stitching with that, and with that bag. Now, as for my plans on what I'm going to be doing in the future, I thought, well, I didn't get that Beggar's Night, or I didn't get the Beggar's Fourth done, but I have Beggar's Night. So Beggar's Night, same thing. I'm not going to take it out. Not traditional stitches, threadwork primitives. Beggar's Night, I really want to get that done because I have the perfect frame for it, because I did Beggar's Valentine and got that finished. So watching for Riley, throwing that on the ground. Then I will share about this project bag later, and maybe I'll even share about it when I do that little video, because I hadn't even thought about doing a separate one. We'll see. But I do like this because it has two separate areas. It is altered on size. I alter the size on everything, but I got it from this book. So Stitched by Neela Hui. That's my go-to for project bags. So I'm sure the majority of you know Barb Adams. My mom was a Barbara, so I always think of Barbara. Barb Adams passed away on 4th of July. And I didn't know about it at the time when I was stitching that weekend, but I learned about it from Kitten Stitcher's email when I got home, and very saddened. I've known, I've done Blackbird designs years ago from quilting, so that's how I knew Barb and Alma, from quilting. So as I've been just, we're all going to process in different ways with the sadness of that, and also thinking about Alma and Barb's family and everything. But because of that, I thought I just wanted to stitch on one of their designs. So I wanted to finish up, and this was also part of Just Get It Done June, which now I'm rolling over to Just Get It Done July. So making more progress from Christmas Cactus from the book Deck the Halls. So getting some progress done. Everything is called for on this. I just had to wait for Olive. I didn't have Olive, and I kept thinking, I have so many green over dyed. Surely I've got something that worked, where I didn't. And I knew I had Olive somewhere in one of my project bags, but I just thought, I'm just going to order it. So I made an order from Hollis Hands Creates, and I got my Olive. And so their colors, Blackbird Designs colors, are just truly amazing. And so most of the time I will do what is called for. So that's what I got done, and that's how I am working through just my thoughts and emotions from that sadness. So what else can I share? Since I'm talking about blackbirds, we're just going to kind of mix it up on what we talk about. I was just kind of thinking, because of course we when there's one person that we know that has passed away, then we think about another person that we know that has passed away, and just all the emotions. And it's just kind of been what's up. But also because I know that there is, I cannot remember the names, Olivia B, I think, and somebody else. I have them, I'm following them, but I can't remember the names because it's just going to be one of those days. But there is a quilting Blackbird Designs stitch along, and I thought I need to do one because I've got projects, Blackbird Design projects. Most of the Blackbird quilts that I have either started or want to make are incredibly detailed, and they take some time, and I haven't followed through. So this was the first book. I remember I bought this in Colorado. I was shopping with my mom, and got Birds of a Feather, and this is the project. I have almost all these pieces done. Barb and Alma always did, or I don't know if always, but there often were 2 colorways. So Birds of a Feather, I plan on doing it this way, more light than dark, but actually a mixture. I have all of these done. There's only a couple of the applique blocks, and then I need to actually do the pieced blocks. And I was going to change it all up, and that's what I used to do. I would change things all up, and that's why I call it brain surgery right now, and I'm just not going to do it. So I'm going to do the pieced blocks as they are instead of changing things up, and just get it done. So when I do a quilting video, I'll share more about the pieces that I've done. I think I've shared them before, but that was my beginning of applique. This is one of the very first projects that I learned to applique, and I will for right now. Many people comment on this because it is a beautiful quilt that my mom and I collaborated on, and the information, I just copy and paste it. It'll be in the show notes, but anyway, I will share more about that in my quilting video coming up. The other things that I have been stitching on, okay, here was a finish. So this was part of my Just Get It Done June. It went to all my needle arts. So this was a quilt that I'm calling White Chocolate Covered Cherries, because white chocolate covered cherries. This was kind of a mistake that I did as far as the red in the middle, but it's finally finished. I do hand, I machine, put the binding on the front, and then I turn around and hand stitch it on the back. It's just soft, and I'm a handwork girl. So this is all quilted by hand, but machine pieced. But this is the block as it is supposed to be from It's So Emma, Lori Holt's Pineapple block. So you can get them, I got some at Primitive Gatherings. It's paper pieced, but I also got some more because I love it so much on Fat Quarter Shop. So that is done. So totally done except for the label. In my quilt guild, Night Owls Quilters Guild, it's not done until it's got a label. Well, it's done for me, but it's not done, guild done. And then the other thing that I wanted to stitch on, I had a hand quilting project. I wanted to work on my birdhouse quilt that I've showed before, but I thought, and I had that up there with me, but I thought I want patriotic. So my mother had made this, my mom had made mini quilts, and she gave several to my children and to myself. And unfortunately, the quilting is coming undone. So this was machine quilted, but it's coming undone. And so my son showed it to me, because quilts, especially when they're on kids' beds, when they sit on them, the mattress moves and the fabric doesn't move as much with it, and so those threads can pop. And I am changing over the threads that I will be stitching with, because I was talking to my sister about this, is like, I don't want this happening to my quilts. So I'll share about how I'm going to be changing over my threads from Aurifil 50 weight to Aurifil 40 weight for my machine stitching and when I do machine quilting. But anyway, so what I did, because by nature I'm not a machine quilter, I feel out of control behind the sewing machine when I'm machine quilting. So my mom, so this is a quilt that she had done, very patriotic. My son loves patriotic, my younger son Chad. So this was a quilt that she did, and he had it on his bed for years. So this was the machine quilting that is coming out. So what I decided, I'm not going to take it all out because his Granby did this machine quilting. And so I want him to have, even though he's an adult right now, stitches from his Granby and stitches from his mom. So I'm just snipping off the loose stuff. And that's how I'm going to do it. Let's show you a block that I hand quilted. So she had, here, let's show you on this one. She had hand quilted around each one of these flags. The flags were not applique. This was fabric. It must have been a panel. So this she had already done. So I decided I wanted to see how I could make it look similar to how it should be. And this is how, when I hand quilt log cabins, this is what I do. I like to support the seams. And so all I did was I just did a seam here, or hand quilting there. And then every other seam that matches up, I stitch. So this one I can feel the seam allowance here. So when I do hand quilting on this one, I will hand quilt this one and this one. I won't, where these two come together, I won't be hand quilting each one. I did one that way and I won't do it again. But the bottom border, it's fun. The top and the bottom border is this fabric, and this is what's happening. So these stitches are coming loose and coming off, and you can see on that one what's happening. So I may hand quilt following her star. I want to try to reinforce what she had already done, but it's sweet and it needs washed, but I am not going to wash it until my hand quilting is done, so that way I don't have to worry about the batting shifting. So I really enjoy stitching in the season, and so that's why I really wanted to quilt that one. And in one weekend, so you know, kind of off and on stitching on that every day, I got half of that already hand quilted because it's going quick. Let's see. This is something else that I want to share with you. I have been saying that I'm going to share about the details of this, and this is what we're going to do. It's just going to be a lot of different things. This is something that I had done a long time ago. This is available. I just checked Country Stitches online. She closes down her shop sometimes and reopens it. It's available, $8, but it is not, this is not included in the pattern. It is this. So this was done long time ago, and I love it. And then I added this border with a feather stitch, and then I added these are paper pieced blocks. And so I hand stitched, and so these finish at 3 inches. So I'm going to share with you the book that I got it from, but honestly, you could just draw something up or use a regular log cabin, but this is just a wonky log cabin block, but finished at 3, and you can see how many I have. So across the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So okay, so 7, 7, and then 3 there. So, but I like how it did. I don't think I changed the size of that because this is the book that it came from. This is not easy to find anymore. I inherited the book from my mom, but this is Book 3, Backwoods Retreat, Paper Pieced Projects, and it's by Eileen Chapman. Now, the pattern for this, I will share with you the quilt my mom made for me. I'll share this with you. I don't think I've shared the story behind that quilt, and today is not going to be that day because I just can't. Some days I cannot go into the stories of my mom without being sad. But this is one of the panels from this book. So I have had people asking what book I got this from. That's it. But this I do not believe is from that. It's probably from another book. I didn't want to take the time to look through to see if it was there because otherwise I wouldn't get this done. So there we go. Let me pop this back up. Or not. There we go. I just have little loops of wire on there. That was just something, a fence, on my garden fence. All right, making progress, guys. Okay, now, this is, so this, I couldn't find the other 3 that I've completed. Oh, now I think I have completed stuff, patterns in a different area, which may be a fail for me. This is the only one that I have not done. So this is how they come. And then you decide how you want to do the finished edges. So Country Stitches Online, Brenda Gervais. Oh, I got this out, so I may as well show you. These are my plans for Jolly July. I do want to be sewing something. This is a Crabapple Hill pattern. I think it's still available. Meg Hockley, I believe her name is. This is what I want to, this is my Parson Brown. I'm doing it darker, but not Forgotten Farm. Parson Brown. I've seen so many people do this, and I'm doing it on darker. So I'll put in the show notes what that is. I have no idea. Oh yeah, I do. Cocoa. Weeks Cocoa is what I'm doing, but I wanted something darker and primitive, so that's the plans of what I'm going to be stitching. I'll leave that when I talk about the project bags. Okay, I made a trip to Hobby Lobby because I had gone to a different box store and went to buy some muslin, and it was a ridiculous price because I love tea-dyed muslin. This is tea-dyed muslin, and I love using it for my wool projects or a lot of different projects. So I had gone to Joann's and decided I'm not paying that price. And it wasn't a very good quality either. So then I went to Hobby Lobby this week, and all the fabrics are 30% off. I, as a quilter who I want my quilts to last a long time, I choose to make my quilts and do most of my stitching out of what I would call quilt quality fabric, which is just independent store fabric. So by Moda, by Andover, not from a big box store. That's just because of how I learned how to quilt, and I want my quilts, obviously you can see the quality of either the thread or the quilting that I'm having to redo a quilt for my son. So that's just the fabric that I technically buy. So I don't usually buy fabric at Hobby Lobby. I was very tempted. They had gorgeous, and I was picking some out and I thought, stop, stop, stop. Don't need any. So I bought 10 yards of muslin. There's probably 3 or 4 different prices of the muslin, and then I felt them. There's thicker, thinner. So this was the one that was $4.99, and was it $4.99? Yeah, it was $4.99, and then down to like $3.50 a yard. So because I'm going to tea dye a lot of it, and I have a lot of projects planned, I bought 10 yards, and so I'm even going to work on, I can do this for a lining for project bags. So I bought a lot of it, but that's where I wanted to encourage you guys to check around different places, because one muslin at one place is not going to be the same muslin at another. So this, I was happy with the quality and the weave, and hopefully it will last for a while. Then while I was there, I did buy some ticking, because I was inspired by Melly Ellie Stitches. Melanie just making beautiful project bags, and she's selling some of them too. She's not doing that primarily as a business, but she's doing some just because she enjoys it so much. And I was just inspired by one of her Independence Day, 4th of July patriotic project bags. So I bought this, and then I realized how perfect it's going to go as a project bag with a Blackbird book that I got. And actually this will just be the lining of it, because that project will be the front of the project bag. So I'll share that in a minute with that haul. The other thing that I'm not going to show it a lot, because I'll talk about this more in my when I get a quilting video done. This is part of my Just Get It Done June and July. This is a quilt that I started last year, and it's called Goose on the Loose, and I think it's Colorado Quilting Design. I'll put it in the show notes, but I will share about the details of this in my quilting video. But just so you can see, I finished machine piecing it together because I'm feeling out of control with how many projects are not finished. And I just thought, just finish something. So I got the pieces out one day and I thought, I am 3/4 of the way done with my blocks. I just need to finish it up. And I was overthinking the color combinations. And that's where I thought, stop. I had my cup of coffee, matched up a light and a dark, light and a dark, light and a dark. I just needed, I want to say 12, I can't even remember, 48, however many of the small flying geese blocks I'll show you. I needed to get them done. I think I needed like 20 or 25. Whatever it was, I matched them all up and I just did it. And then I sewed them all together and I thought, however they go, they go. Because at first I had it on a design board and it was just like, that's why it didn't get done. So I thought, I'm tired of overthinking things. Let's just get it done. So this is part of my Just Get It Done July. So here we go. I'll show you the quilt and then I will share much more about it on my quilting video coming up. So that's as much as I can show. It is a scrappy quilt, and I am, where's some part where I am sitting in hand quilting. I'm working on the hand quilting portion of it right now. So this was the size of the blocks that I needed to finish up. And so I'll share more about the details of it and why this is such a special quilt for me, with a fun event that I have coming up. But, and I'm even using just scrap batting that's even thicker than I usually would, just because I'm going to clean things up and get things done. So that's what I've been working on, a lot of different stitching projects and enjoying it. I love cross stitch. I love wool. I love machine piecing. I love hand stitching. I love embroidery. I love gardening. And I love just sitting and drinking coffee in my garden too. And instead of just staying in one lane right now, I am traveling all over the place. I got to tell you though, this BenQ light that I was gifted by BenQ, I'll put the link again. I'll find the link and put it in my show notes. I was gifted this and I shared about that light in a video. I was going to share more details later and I haven't, but I can show you one thing that I like. When I'm sitting in hand quilting, I don't stitch in a hoop. I stitch on my lap, and I move. I get up and I don't get up. I move. It's very physical. So if I have sore arms, I cannot do it. So it's very physical. And I had this, because you can move this. This baby can move all over the place. It's amazing. And I hit it, and I thought, what can I do? And I thought, just move it up, and I just moved it and had it tilted over me a little bit even more. It was perfect. So I adore that light. I am so glad that I was gifted it by BenQ just for me to share my review of it. So again, I'll put that in the show notes. The other thing, there's two other things that I want to share with. Did I share everything? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to just show this because I had intended to, but I'll share the story of it another time. A gift from my mother. And that is from that book that I showed, Backwoods Quilters Retreat. Tender memories right now. So I love looking at it, but I just can't talk about it right now. So the other things that I've been doing, my sister-in-law came for a visit and had my nephew here, and I got to spend a whole day all by myself, just he and I. Oh, actually, my son Chad came over to visit too. And my husband Kurt was here too. And they hung out while I even took a little nap. So anyway, have had a lot of stuff going on. But while she was here, I went to get some Coke boxes that I was going to give her out of the garage, and I just realized what a mess the garage was. And I just thought, I can't do this. And then we had a drain issue, and I was spending time in the garage. We've had so many things come up. So we spent hours in the garage, and I was looking, as I'm holding the parts and things that my husband needed, I'm looking around the garage and I'm thinking, this is disgusting. And so the next day, I spent about 6 hours in there and got rid of probably 6 boxes worth of stuff. Thrift store, giveaway, throwaway, done. And then I went in that evening and I thought, wow, I did a lot. Let's do it again. So the next day I went in, cleared out. I had boxes and boxes of puzzles. My kids aren't going to come over and do puzzles anymore. My husband and I aren't going to need the 8,000 puzzles that I had. So I got them out. He happened to be home that day, and I spread all the puzzles, every single puzzle out on the floor. And I said, okay, which ones can we get rid of? Which ones do we want to keep? And we separated them because he's like, I'm never going to do that one. I'm never going to do that one. And it was awesome. We got down to 1 1/4 boxes of puzzles that we would actually do. And it felt so good. But part of a lot of what I gave away were the board games that I had when the kids were young. And they were not put in plastic boxes, so they got kind of grungy. And so, gone. And it's amazing because we have plans for our garage and we have to get rid of some stuff. But as I was doing that, there was a game that we had. I'm kind of tearing it apart, but our kids played it. This was not a game that we played a lot, but I loved the box. That's probably, my kids liked strategy games, and so did my husband. But I loved the box, and so I was going to give it away, and I thought, or I was going to keep it too just because of the box, and I thought, no. Then I was going to give it away, and I thought, no. So I gave away the guts, I gave away the game part, but wouldn't this be, now I would have to cover up somehow. I can't peel it off. It's like, it's on there. But I'm going to figure out something, because wouldn't this be cool for a finish? It's beautiful. And I like those little nubbies in the corners. So if I have it straight, it would work. So obviously I can do a cross stitch thing here, figure out what to do for the edge. But I just thought, we'll see what I can do. Or I may just throw it away. But the other thing I did, I had a fun day where I went to primitive gatherings with a friend of mine. And then instead of going on to another fabric store that she had wanted to, it was modern. And I was just going to go along with the ride for her because I spent all my money at primitive gatherings. And I said, let's do whatever. Let's do whatever. So we stopped and had lunch, and then we went down to Temecula. And she has come from antique store, gift store background for decades. And so I was like, yep, I'll go with you. There's actually one thing that I'm looking for. Maybe I'll find it there. I'm not much of a shopper as far as that. A fabric store? Boom, yes. But not where I'll go to lots of antique stores on my own. But it was a whole different ball game going with my friends. So we walk in, and I just realized all of a sudden my hair looks greasy. It's clean. But anyway, we walk in, and I told her, same with that primitive gatherings, I am a very focused shopper. So I said, hey, I'll see you in the store, but let's shop on our own. And so we did that. The first store we went into, it was Old Town Antique Fair, and it's on the main drag of Temecula. And I saw this, and I thought, oh, I love it. So I bought that, and have that with next year when I do my patriotic smalls. I have that, and I thought, oh, it's just the jar container, the box. It's the box. So we went there, and then in my mind, my husband, mostly my husband, and I are totally redoing the bathroom up at our log cabin. And there's logs on the inside. He's the one that has stained. He sanded that, and the ceiling, the wood ceiling, sanded that, sanded the walls, stained them, varnished them, sanded the floor, varnished the floor. It's gorgeous. And instead of this kind of hokey thing that we had been using as a dresser in there, I told him, I can picture an antique kind of a dresser. But we had only looked up in Lake Arrowhead at the antique store, one antique store, because I was just not in the mood for shopping. And so I said, maybe I'll find some. Oh my word, I turned a corner, I was like, that's it, that's it. So I already knew, I looked at the price. It was $195, and I thought, and I asked my friend, because she knows this stuff. I said, hey, what do you think about this? She's like, okay, yeah, that's Victorian or this. I said, yeah, it's Victorian, because it had it on the label. And she's like, yeah, it's really great quality. And so I already knew my husband would say, just get it. And because it was the right size that we were looking for. And I tend to be the more decorator one. So I sent him pictures, and he's like, yeah, get it. And so there was something wrong with it. And I have this on my Instagram. I couldn't lift the whole thing up. It's on my Instagram, the details of it. But the top has patina. So I said, hey, what would you do about this? She said, I'd just leave it. Our whole cabin is water damaged and patina. We call it patina. So it just is going to fit right in with that. But what I can show you is the drawer. So it is Victorian, and this is the drawer that goes with it. Where's Riley? Riley's down at my feet. Is that not gorgeous? That is the drawer pull. That's a drawer pull, and it is gorgeous. That's the main feature of this, and then there's this other design there, but I also got the key. I don't know, this key works with it. Doesn't mean that that's exactly what this key was, but it's a gorgeous key. And there is kind of no handle, and so my husband and I were trying to figure out how we can make that as a handle without destroying the integrity of the piece. We haven't figured it out so far. Then he's doing everything in there. He made the water heater door. He made the door. He made the trim. He made the window trim. He tiled the walls. We're putting, next time we go up, we're putting actually the glass up for the shower. I want to say I help, but he's doing all of it. So on that water heater door, it will be right next to that antique piece. And that door is plain looking. And I told my husband, I'll figure something out. Well, I did. At that antique, then we went to another antique store. It was Granny's Attic, I think, and it was more of an antique mall. I'd never been to one before. We were there for hours. We were there until they closed. And I'm always on the lookout for old frames. This was 12 bucks. Isn't that beautiful wood? So this will help tie in, because we have real log walls that accepted the stain different than the pine around the trim, and so we needed something that tied in the dark and the light, and it's perfect, except there's one little mark there. But again, it's age, it's patina. So I am planning on either doing a cross stitch or a wool project for this, and it needs to go this way because this is how the door is. I have a lot of things that could go this way, but it needs to go this way. So just a fun thing. And then I found at one little nook, I found quite a few frames. This, again, I love old frames. So this is one. Our front room is sort of craftsman-y. So this this was like $13, $14. Yeah, this wood is different. That's how wood is, though. But we already know I was going to do a wool project to put in there. And look at the back. It's my groove. I like it. I like old stuff. So there is a Craftsman print. Schmuckel? I'll think of her name. But I got a print. It's only 42 bucks. I got a print. It's going to go in that frame. So it's my inexpensive way of doing a Craftsman picture in the front room. Then as we were looking around, it was amazing. Sometimes we were together. Sometimes we were separate. Because there was something that I wanted, and she said, oh, there's some of those over here, and so I had to find out. It was like, where are you? It was so big. We had to figure out where we each were. This was something that I found. This, I now know what it is. I thought it was, my friend thought it was a box for soap, but it was not. It was a box for perfume. The name of it was Pearson's, Peirssons. I searched it and it came up as perfume. I even got a magnifying glass to know what perfume was in this box. But is this not gorgeous? Is that, I was even looking at this sticker. I can't even see it right now. Right side up on the magnifying glass. Gorgeous. It's a woman leaning against a dresser. Beautiful. Anyway, it was a little wonky on one of the corners, and I was like, my husband could fix it, so he did. That's the one he put in. This is going to be a thread box. Is that amazing? When he went to fix it, the glue actually leaked in there, so it just got a little more patina. But a thread box, so $6. Can't go wrong with $6. So I have been wanting for quite a while old sewing machine cabinet drawers. But I'm not going to spend a lot of money. You know, obviously $6 there, $12 there. Oh, and that dresser, the best part of it was when I went to purchase it, it was on sale. It only was $150. So that was super awesome. So my friend said, hey, there's a sewing machine drawer over here, but I had just picked one up. And so I grabbed it with me, took it, and so the one that I picked, I said, what do you think of this? She goes, whoa, that's great. And I want to say this was $15. So this, isn't that cool? This is the sewing machine drawer. So I'm going to use this. I wish there was more, and look at that, got dinged from that. I wish there was more, but this is what it is. And I'm going to use this as a display, but it was what I was wanting, and the price was right. The last thing that I got, and I had been telling her, we have been seeing a lot of shaker boxes in all the little rooms. We've been seeing shaker boxes, and I'm like, oh, all my FlossTube friends have shaker boxes, and they're so cool. And so we had seen some different quality. Some had handles put on, some didn't. And as I was just gathering stuff, I was like, okay, I don't need any shaker boxes. And so her mind had already been on looking for shaker boxes for Bonnie. And so we were in this one place, and she said, oh, shaker boxes. And it's like, no, I've already spent enough money. I don't need shaker boxes. And she said, oh my gosh, these are great quality. And I was like, I don't need any shaker boxes. And she said, the set of 3 is only $19. And it's like, give it to me. So $19 for all 3 of these. And these are very, very good quality. So it's beautiful, and it's heavy. So this is a good heavy quality, and this is a nice thick piece of wood. I love wood, so the quality of that, amazing. So I got my shaker boxes. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I don't know if I'll put anything on top of them right now. They're just displayed on my my antique craftsman thing in the front room. So that's there. That's my haul. A lot of different stuff. Okay, let me do a look around. Yep. Okay, I did it. No, I got a haul that I didn't share. I'll save that. I'll save that for another time. So because we're already 48 minutes, and I need to take a break, because now, okay, so that's the end of what I'm going to share with you right now. So now this will be a little bit of the chat, and then I'll share my good stuff after that. So the bit of the chat, I need a drink of water. So I'm taking on extra responsibilities in my life for someone that I love very much. And in that, there's emotions that come up, and there's things that come up with that person's needs. And there's heartache that comes up. And in the midst of that, there's good stuff that comes up. There's hard stuff that comes up. And some days, kind of the hard stuff weighs very heavy on me, and it's taking time to help facilitate that stuff. So that's as far as I can go for right now. But in that, it's something that I'm honored to be able to do, and I'm very grateful to be able to do. But my heart aches in the midst of that. So that's taken a lot of my energy and time and focus, and some of my joy. I'm working on joy nevertheless. But some days are hard on that. So my stitching and my happy room have been part of that. And that's where I have stitching to share because of that. And so that's it for right now, just because I don't want to get teary. So that's been part of the reason that I have not been here so much in front of you guys, because I have felt very unsettled. And I need to feel settled to be able to push record and be able to communicate and share and do my thing. And so I haven't done that. But also I had to explain to my friend, I have a sweet new neighbor that we have, she and her mom, were out walking the other day, and I was out front in my garden, but I was in a mood that day. And my garden has been kind of out of control. But I was in the mood to pull weeds. It was like ripping those weeds out, felt so good. And I was out doing that, and she and her mom were walking up and down the street. And I wanted so much to be able to go and talk to her and her mom. And it just wasn't within me. And I was like head down. I had because I was like under some plants trying to weed it. Anyway, plants stuff sticking out of my head anyway. But I saw her this afternoon. I went over and I said, hey, this is what was going on the other day. This is why I didn't come over and chat with you. And so it was good. Communication, I feel, is incredibly important, especially in this time that we are all separated in some form or another from our norm. And I just wanted to communicate with her, and it was so sweet, and got lots of hugs, and it was good. Then the other thing that came up was a physical thing. So because I'm kind of distracted right now, and because I do natural health, I have to really focus on my body and what it's telling me. Because if I have something that's not quite right in my body, I'm usually on it, and it's like, okay, so I got my essential oils, I know how to use them, I've got lots of other resources, other natural things that I use, and I know how to do it. And I just generally would do it and move forward in my life. But there was just a lot of different things going on, and I just let this thing go with that. You know, it's that if you ignore it long enough, it'll go away. No, it didn't. And I ended up deciding to call the doctor, doing a phone interview, and we decided on a prescription that might work. I have crazy reactions to medications after I had my second son. That's part of why I do natural stuff. There's a lot of reasons why I do it. Anyway, I said, okay, I think this medication I might be okay with, because I don't generally do medications because of that, and because of a lot of other reasons. So anyway, we decided that I would try it after I got home from work with a full stomach. I'd be okay. So I took one of those pills. And then the next morning, 12 hours later, I was like, okay, nothing happened. I can do another one. Well, I was still full from dinner the night before, so I thought, I'll just take another one, and I ate like an apple or something. Well, that day I had somebody coming over to help me with my office. My office is amazing right now. He was working on my office, and I was there, and then as the time was going on, I thought, I do not feel good, and I know what's going on. I had a reaction. To just 2 of the pills that I took. It was not fun. It took me down. And so had to figure out how to do life with something going on at the house, and how to do life. My husband was away working, and it was a mess. And so, you know, I did what I needed to do. I called in and said, this is what's going on. This is what I'm going to do about it. I just wanted to let you guys know in case something worse goes on. Anyway, I then took control, and okay, I'm doing my natural thing. And so 48 hours I was down, and now I'm better. You know, things have been resolved, and I am better. But whoa, that took me down so low that my energy has been, like, I took a walk for the first time. My normal walk, I think, is like 2.5 miles. I took a walk for the first time, I think, Thursday. So it was 4 days where I was back healthy again. And I thought, I thought, oh my gosh, I don't feel good, but I'm like, I'm determined. And I have enough neighbors on the way that I could have called my husband. He could have gotten me. But I'm like, I'm going to do this. And I did. But I can just feel. So that's why I haven't been here. That's why things have been going on in my life. And that's why I said life got a little complicated. But I'm moving forward. Whatever life is, I'm moving forward. So there we go. That's just a little explanation, because I have had so many sweet people saying, are you okay? Haven't done one for a while, because I had planned when I did one, I think the end of June, and I said, okay, I'm going to do another video soon, or I think I posted something on Instagram. Anyway, it's been almost a month since that, but I'm here. I shared, got a lot of stuff in, and I think what I'm going to do is take a little bit of break and then come back and do one with my project bags and my haul, because I'm looking at it right now and I want to integrate it back into life. So I think at this moment I'll plan on coming back and doing a shorter video with the haul of stuff that I got, and just some of the other treasures. So thank you guys for being part of my life. Thank you for being part of this journey that I never expected. You know, a year ago, didn't even know about FlossTube, and here I am with this amazing stitching family, and just so much a part of who I am now is the stitching family. And I have felt for the last several weeks, I've got to do a video to let everybody know, you know, that's how I engage with you guys, but just wasn't up to it at that point. So now maybe I'll get 2 of them done today. So, oh, the good stuff. Cannot let you go without the good stuff. Let me take a drink. And as I was thinking about what I wanted to share with you guys, because there's so much that the Lord has been walking through with me in the midst of everything that's been going on. And a lot of that with this physical thing that came up was praying for wisdom. God, do I need to go into the ER? God, do I need to go into urgent care? Just really wanting to be wise, because this is his temple, the temple of the Holy Spirit, and if God has me still on this earth, he has a plan for me, and I want to cooperate with that plan. But God's grace, recovered. But in the midst, so that's one of the things that I was doing in my faith journey and in how I do life. But there was 2 things that as I was looking at this devotional, this is the Billy Graham Hope for Each Day. And as sometimes I just randomly flip through it and look at the title of what it was. And the title on this one, even though it was not the right date, was in his hands. And that's a lot of times what I will pray, is I will pray that I put the concerns in his hands and I ask him to take care of them, because I can't take care of it on my own. So as I was reading through this, it was much of something that I had been talking to a person about, and really what I was thinking in my heart about this situation. So I want to read that to you, and then the one behind it, I flipped back to that one. I thought, oh, that one too. So let's just leave my glasses on. Okay, that's there. Let's just leave these on, even though they're very reflective, but there we go. Okay, so this one, this is the August 27th one. In his hands, no man has power over the wind to contain it. No one has power over the day of his death. Ecclesiastes 8:8. It says, ultimately, our lives are in God's hands. Even the next breath you take is a gift from him. If he were to withdraw his hand from you, your life would end, despite the most strenuous efforts of your doctors. The psalmist said it well, when you take away their breath, they die and return to the dust. Okay, let me just stop real quick to share too, because 2020 was the busiest year I have ever had in my work, ever. And so I worked with the public, as I normally would, just doing different things this whole time. And so since the sickness that everyone's worrying about has to do with taking your breath away, I prayed, God, my breath is in your hands. If it's taken away, it's taken away. I get to go see you. I get to go see my mom. Win-win. If I stay here, I get to do my life and what you want me to do. So those verses, I know, I've known those verses. I prayed that a lot in 2020. Okay, back to this. What difference should this make? First, it should remind us of our dependence on God. All too often we assume that our lives and our futures are in our hands, but they aren't. They're in His hands. He gave us life, and someday He will bring our time on earth to an end. But this should also remind us that each day is a gift from God. A gift to be used wisely, joyfully, and for His glory. And this gift of life should remind us of an even greater gift, the gift of eternal life in Christ. Thank God for the gift of today and for the gift of eternal life that awaits us in heaven. It's just a tender time for me right now with lots of thoughts. Okay, this is the day before. God is our strength, and that's another one. I just pray that God would give me strength and wisdom to do the things that I need to do, especially in this new situation that I have. This one says, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? I think of that a lot right now in the changing of the United States. And that's from Psalm 27:1. Do I fear man or do I fear my God? And that is a whole different word, either fearing what man can do to me because of things that change all the time, or having that holy, respectful fear of the Lord. That's what I want to have. Sometimes it's hard, though. Sometimes that other fear comes up. So I think about that verse often, too. It's a fact that the Lord is my light and my salvation. So why should I be afraid? Since the Lord fears nothing, why should we fear? The scripture also declares that God is a very present help in trouble. Psalm 46:1. If we can't trust the all-powerful, all-knowing, all-loving God of the universe to help us, where can we turn? But we can trust Him. God is able. Indeed, He is anxious to deliver us from all sorts of trouble. He wants to give us strength to overcome the temptation to the sin that separates Him from those He loves. He wants to give us the courage to confront our problems instead of avoiding them or denying them. That's been huge for me. I will reread that sentence because obviously I had a hard time. I am an avoider, total avoider. He wants to give us the courage to confront our problems instead of avoiding them or denying them. Then He will provide the practical wisdom and help we need to deal with them. Exactly what I've been praying for, the wisdom to help this beloved person that I need to help. What do you fear today? Failure, rejection, and illness, or physical danger? The uncertainty of the future? Whatever it is, ask God to help you turn it over to Him. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? So in that, it was a funny thought too, because of the, I don't know, I guess the seriousness of what I myself walked through last weekend from this reaction. My husband was really afraid for me. And so we just prayed, but we both know if I die, I go to heaven and I get to be with my Lord and Savior. I am not afraid to die. And I guess because I have I struggle with those deep, dark thoughts of just wanting to be dead sometimes, because of the depression I struggle with. It's not a fear for me. It doesn't mean if a life or death thing happened, I wouldn't be scared. And I was concerned. I was more concerned, though, just because I didn't want to go to the ER. But I was not afraid to die. And because of that, because I go to heaven. Doesn't mean I want a painful death, and doesn't mean I want to leave my family behind. But I wasn't afraid to die. As close as I came last weekend, or not. But just that thought of my life is in God's hands. And so that's why I was praying for wisdom in the situation I was in. I will never advise anyone on what to do about their life. I'm in charge of my life in some sense, and so that's why I chose to do what I did, just to clarify things. And anyway, I'm going to ramble on. Once I start these, I never want to finish. So there we are in a nutshell. Whom do I fear? Whom do I go to for strength? Whom do I go to for hope and wisdom? And I want to tell you how much I appreciate my stitching family, and how much I value your input in my life in any realm that there is, by the views, by the likes, by the subscriptions, by the comments, by the prayers, by the emails, which I am behind in my emails. I will get to those. But I value those very much, and I just want to thank you guys so much for that. So I challenge myself, choose joy nevertheless, and I say to you, I pray that you will choose joy nevertheless, and I pray that God blesses you richly. And I was going to say, in Jesus' name, amen. In Jesus' name, amen. Bye, guys.